Kohler, I'm glad to get the opportunity to raise a number of issues again here tonight in relation to the budget. And I suppose when we talk about the budget, there's a general expectation right around the country by people anticipating or hoping that their sector or that their cause will get funding. And I suppose we welcome the positive aspects of the budget put in. There are many other aspects of it that have neglected and not adequately addressing the issues that need to be addressed. And I suppose in relation to health, while I recognise again the extra spend that's being put into health again this year, I'm just worried, Minister, that will be consumed like all the other money by the HSE. And while we recognise that we have to have managers, and we need managers, but it's clearly evident that the HSE is top heavy with administrative staff, and we don't have enough frontline staff, and indeed our frontline staff are not paid adequately to ensure that they remain in our health service, providing the health and care that we need to provide for people who present sick and have health problems and issues. And I suppose there's in the house, in the country, that someone isn't affected one way or another as the days go by. But I suppose what I have to highlight again here tonight, Minister, is what's happening in Tralee General Hospital and what's not happening there. We have 5 ministers for health. I've raised it so many times. For the last 5 months now, there's been no orthopaedic operations. Yes, there's emergency, yes, but no elective surgery has taken place in the hospital for the last 5 months. And I'm pleading with you I mean, I wouldn't think it too much for the Minister for Health to go down and visit the hospital and challenge the manager to see what's going on there. I'd ask him to go down there and meet with the manager, because to be honest, we're after getting we have been given indications on 2 or 3 occasions that these services would start in the start of September, somewhere through the middle of September. They were to start the 15th of October. They were to start the 1st of November, and they're not starting, Minister. And I feel that will go into the new year, and that's not good enough, where elderly people are roaring with pain to have their hips replaced. I know one particular man, he can't sit down. He either has to stand or lie down. And that's been his story now for 4 or 5 months. He can't see anybody. Nobody will see him. There was somebody with a knee problem, and he was so bad with pain, he had to go up to Belfast last week to get treatment there and to get seen there. And I was listening to the Taoiseach this morning when he said that numbers were going down, people waiting for we'll say treatment, that the number of people on waiting lists have gone down. But yes, I can assure him they have gone down in Kerry in relation to people going for cataracts procedures and knee and hip procedures, because both myself and Michael Collins, and indeed Michael Healy-Rae, we have buses going up every weekend now going to the north. And you see, when you wonder what's going on there, they're going up the weekend and they're being seen to and treated during the weekend. And that doesn't happen in the hospitals down here in the south. Elective surgery doesn't happen during the weekend. They work all around the clock up there to ensure that people are dealt with properly. And that's That's what's happening up there, and it's sad to think that elderly people have to go early in the morning, get into a bus, and you know, I do admire them. I really do admire them for wanting to help themselves. They get on a bus and travel all that 7-hour journey to Belfast, and they have to stay overnight, and they get seen to the next day, and they have to travel all that journey down again. I mean, just take one man that went up on that bus. His grandfather got his cataracts removed in 1968 in Tralee, St. Catherine's Hospital at the time, in 1968. That's 50 years ago. And he had to wait 7 years, and he'd be still waiting, only that I took him up on the bus to the north of Ireland, and he has had his 2 eyes done, and he's actually driving a bus himself now. And that's the God's gospel truth. I mean, we're short of consultants in Tralee General Hospital. We're short of specialists. We're short of frontline nurses. And we're being told that he'll advertise for them, and maybe the HSE are, but we just don't have them. What's happening? People can't just say, all right, my leg won't get bad until the consultant will arrive there. I mean, we can't have that won't happen. People get sick and they have no control over it, and they don't like, they certainly would like to be well, and they certainly don't get sick or unwell because they don't ordain that. It happens, old age and hard work and whatever. And you see, we see how we'd say concerned our Minister for Health is in ensuring and that he'll have money available for abortions, 12 million wherever it was found. All of a sudden, it was found to carry out abortions, and there was a lot of talk here by the Taoiseach this morning about the Tuam babies and what happened there, and it was a scandal to God what happened there. But what's going to happen to these babies? Where are they going to be put? What grave are they going to have? Will they have a grave? I've asked that question. There's been no answer to it. And it beggars belief to think that we're trying to save people and get them back to good health, and then we're ensuring that we're going to have money to pay for abortions, and ensuring that we're going to have the staff to do it. It just doesn't make sense to me, Minister. Healy-Rae Hospital is only half opened, and it is there now for I suppose 8 years. And it's only half open, Dingle the same, and the site was provided free of charge by the farmer that gave it, and we can't open the rest of it. Indeed, there's offices inside in a good part of it. Suicide, is clear that we're not giving enough money towards mental health and not addressing the issues of mental health. Because of the level of suicide in one small pocket of Kerry, there's been 4 suicides in as many weeks, or maybe a bit more. Each day we have an average of 25 people on the trolleys in Tralee General Hospital. People waiting to see consultants who aren't even there. And you see, it's the HSE. We just can't understand it. The jump in the 9% to 30.5% for the hotel and the restaurant and the hostelry industry, it's a major blow to all of Kerry, which is predominantly a tourist county, because when things were so bad in 2009 and 2010, it was the hotel industry and that sector that brought back our county and brought a bit of life back to it. Indeed, with the farming, because farming has and was looked down on, but when the farming community keep going and when they're going good, it brings up the rest of the communities right around them. And likewise, when we talk about Killarney, Kenmare and Dingle, and indeed Castle Island and Crag Caves, all those places, they're providing the attraction and providing the amenities for the people who come in great numbers to our county, and they have been doing great work. But you have to realise, Minister, from this time of the year until maybe St. Patrick's Day, most of them places are closed, and they depend on the busy months to survive and to sustain and to improve their product. And this is a big blow to them. I would have felt, and many people would have felt, that if we were to increase it, and if we did it in a transitional way, 1.5% each year, and in 3 years he would have reached, and then people would have, worked towards that, and maybe it could have been accepted that way. Hairdressers were outside the gates there yesterday, Minister, and they're very hot as well about the increase. Likewise, it is a savage increase to them, and to be competitive, it'll mean they'll either have to forego any bit of profit they had out of it, or maybe, like one of them said to me, that they won't be able to take on young trainees now because they just won't be able to do that. They won't have the funds to do that. Housing, I suppose, we're war from talking about housing, Minister. Each and every member here and every one of us is as concerned as the next. But and there's so many reports and so many actions and all what different things, but you see, and he keeps saying that it's not funding. But please explain, Minister. We have up to 50 people waiting for rural cottages in Kerry, but yet there's only going to be 10 bill from 2016 to 2021. I mean, they have the sites themselves, and I was even told by one new person that I asked about the other day, Danny, nobody will come out to even see him for 3 years. Imagine that, like. And he having the site himself, and we're talking about putting roofs over people's heads. Rents have increased, and landlords, there's a lot of complaints about landlords, and what I'd say, Minister, 99% of landlords are all fine, but they're finding themselves in a tough wicket as well, because if they get 150 euros a week for a house, and they're taxed at 50 or 52%, that means they're only getting 75 euros. So that the government are actually getting half of the rental value of the house, and the landlord has to provide for the upkeep and the insurance and pay all the other things to ensure that the house is standing and in reasonable good shape. The tenant purchase scheme, where local authorities would used to always get a bit of money to do up voids and to do up vacant houses, that tenant purchase scheme won't allow that we have at the present time. In fact, 80% of the people that apply to buy out their local authority house, this scheme that's there at the present time won't accommodate them or won't allow them. 80%. So that we're waiting for it to review that, and I'd be very grateful, Minister, if you explain that again to your colleague. And indeed, the mountable homes, they don't cost that very much, but we're not allowed to have them now in Kerry anymore unless there's a fire or a flooding. So what was always an acceptable standard of housing for a lone farmer, maybe where his house went into bad repair and couldn't be repaired, or for one reason or other he have a site, and he have a place for a septic tank and everything. We're not allowed to have them anymore, and that's a department guideline. We only can have them if in the event of a fire or a flood. Agriculture, look, I spoke about it this morning. The farmers were begging for 200 euros per suckler cow. They will get 40 through the geonomics, but this scheme is not what it's set out to be, and what they've been asked to do now is to weigh the calves and to weigh the cows, and this is all dangerous work, and there's health and safety issues involved in it. And to actually gain these 40 euros, they will have to spend about 20 euros. So what we're being told anyway, Minister, is that a lot of people are getting out of this scheme, and they'll be getting out of it next year. Because of it's too hard and overcomplicated and bureaucratic. And many farmers, like I said, are exiting the scheme. Look, we're talking about jobs, and and the provision of jobs is vital for the survival of rural areas. And I, like other deputies, can't understand what's happening to the jobs in Bornemona, in the heart of our country at the present time. And you know, what I can see this country, if we'll survive long enough, it will be all environmentalists and no one working. Because if they're going to continue getting their way like they are, now there's going to be a rush we believe that all the departments are going to visit the place, and strategies put in place to see where they can find jobs for these fellas from Kildare and Longford and Offaly and Roscommon. People, I know one man that's there since he was 16 years of age, he's 59 now. Where is he going to go? I mean, why didn't he talk about, why didn't governments, and we won't just blame this government, but the last government, why didn't governments talk to the people in these places and see what could be done for them to provide jobs if you're going to make them lose the jobs that they have? This is absolutely ridiculous. And what they were doing was sourcing what was their own and sell it, briquettes and turf. And there's nothing wrong with that, because and like I said here today and other days as well, if Ireland was totally emission free, it would only mean 0.13 of 1% in the worldwide context. That's the truth. 0.13 of 1% in the worldwide overall. And we're tripping over ourselves to meet these guidelines, the 2030 Paris Agreement or whatever. And yet you've China and Japan, they can't see their noses, they can't see their feet with the height of smog and smoke. And that is a fact. And he'll paralyse the people here with carbon taxes, and he'll stop them cutting turf for sale in the Midlands. And if these environmentalists will get their way, they'll stop people cutting turf at home in their own places where they cut it traditionally back over the years. And that's how my grandmother survived, if you want to know it, Taoiseach, our Minister, back, and that's how she reared my father and all the rest of them, was selling a bit of turf and selling a bank of bog to the local guard or whoever it was. And I don't think that they hurt the country or the world one little bit. And the people that are still doing it, was grand to see them at it this summer when the weather was fine. It is not so nice when it rains and it's tough. It's tough thing, but tell the people try to tell the people in the Midlands now that we're working in Bornemona, or we'll get some other job for you, because the environmentalists are saying you're doing harm and affecting climate change. The climate change back over the years, and it is a fact. And I'll say it again because it's the truth, and when we're telling the truth, it's not a lie. The temperature has only risen less than 1% since 1850, and that is the truth, and that's the God's gospel truth. less than 1% since 1850, and we're going to drive the people down through the ground. We're going to make the people in Kildare and Offaly and Roscommon and Longford give up their jobs for these environmentalists who have these mad kind of notions. And you see, what I'll say to those environmentalists, if we look through each and every one of them, no one of them ever hired a man or a woman, or never paid a fellow on a Friday evening, because if they did, they'd realise, that money doesn't fall out of the sky, and that you have to work for it. And Friday evening comes very fast when fellows have to be paid, and if they're not going to be paid in the Midland counties, if they don't have jobs, and just have to see where they're going to come from all of a sudden, 'tis the government and the state will have to pay social welfare to them. And everyone else will be, that remains working will be contributing towards that bill, towards that cost. In relation to women's pensions, we hope that the 2012 women that were wrong changed in their pensions by the former minister, Minister Burton, that will be addressed, or started to be addressed in this coming year. I hope it will. But there was also women before that who worked in the home and who were never recognised and don't get a pension of their own. Many of them, yes, they get paid on their husband's pension or whatever, but they still need to be recognised, Chairman. They still need to be recognised, and because they played a part in the formation of our country, and in the people that's actually running the country today. They were the women that brought them into the world, and fed them and reared them, so we shouldn't forget about them. I know their numbers are diminishing because they're getting older, but they should have been recognised in this budget. Thank you very much.